Everyone. It's great to see you all.
We'll invite you to share your deck now.
You bet.
While you share, I'll just give you a couple updates. So one, we are recording, so just know that your pitch will be recorded. Two, you have 12 minutes to deliver your pitch. At the 11 and a half minute mark. I will spotlight myself just as a flag, and then we'll have 6 minutes for questions. And looks good. You sound great. So when you're ready, go ahead and start your pitch.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. I'm Sydney, the CEO and co-founder of Vessl. Since my training in biomedical engineering, I have been passionate about prosthetics innovation. So I co-founded Vessl to dedicate my life to developing solutions. Prosthetic clinicians, or prosthetists, tell us that poor socket fit, the fit between an amputee's prosthetic leg and their residual leg, is the biggest problem in prosthetics today. So for our flagship product, my team of engineers and prosthetic leaders have developed an automatically adjusting socket, empowering amputees to lead healthier, more comfortable lives. We've all worn oversized shoes and gotten terrible blisters. But imagine you're an amputee like Ed here, and this is happening to your leg. It is so painful that you are wheelchair bound until the blisters heal, or you get another amputation. This is poor socket fit, and it affects all 50 million amputees around the world. It happens because Ed's leg changes size, leading to chafing in his rigid socket. The solution? Ed regularly removes his socket and adds a sock throughout the day. This pain and frustration means 11% of amputees just stop using their prosthesis. Thankfully, Vessl has a unique solution. Our isoform socket is the only socket that automatically adjusts as Ed's leg shrinks and swells. As Ed walks, our proprietary technology stores energy in a mechanical disc that pulls on panels at a set tension. This tension is set by the prosthetist during the custom fitting process. And manufacturing stays the same. The prosthetist still measures the amputee's leg, sends those measurements to a central fabricator, and receives the completed socket days later. With isoform, Ed avoids the pressure extremes that often lead to blisters, so he can walk around all day comfortably. Without relying on flimsy electronic sensors, isoform maintains a reliable fit on the leg as the leg changes size. Ed only needs to visit his prosthetist when he needs a new prosthetic leg, so prosthetists retain their patients while spending their time on billable events. We're entering a very attractive market where a leg is amputated every 30 seconds. Our total addressable market is the global prosthetics market of $6.6 billion. Diabetes is the leading cause of leg amputations, so it is driving market growth as its incidence climbs rapidly. Based on the 1.5 million Americans with a below the knee amputation, our serviceable addressable market is $1.5 billion. The American market is being driven by an intense demand for prosthetists, whose employment growth is twice the national average. Our serviceable obtainable market is $745 million, based on amputees' eligibility for their first prosthesis and the frequency with which they get a new one. We have filed a provisional patent in the United States protecting all methods of passive automatic volume adjustment. Our legal team is confident that our broad claims protect our technology while prior art still gives us the freedom to operate. By the end of this year, we are on track to file a full US Track 1 filing, as well as a PCT application. Our PCT application allows us to expand into international markets. Vessl's passive automatic adjustments outperform 3 competitor categories. Manually adjustable sockets rely on constant manual operation, making them inaccessible to amputees with poor dexterity or sensation loss. Bionic sockets remain too bulky, costly, and heavy to be clinically relevant, as we've heard from several prosthetists. And traditional sockets are static. They don't change at all, so they still rely on socks for volume management. By decreasing the number of socket management appointments, which are poorly reimbursed, and increasing the eligible reimbursement amount, Vessl is improving amputees' quality of life while saving them and prosthetists time and money. Vessl operates in a business-to-business model with a global plan, but starting in the United States. We will sell our socket to prosthetists, first through our own sales force and then through distributors as we expand. For manufacturing, we are outsourcing to central fabricators or partnering with central fabricators since prosthetists are already comfortable outsourcing to them. Our price is $2,000 based on conversations with prosthetists about their ideal margins, 2019 Medicare data, and Isoform's added benefits. Then prosthetists are reimbursed through existing insurance codes. The socket payment is a one-time fee, but amputees are eligible for a socket replacement every 3 years or by recommendation from their doctor, which supports a recurring revenue model. To go to market, we are using the Veterans Affairs 2% market share and uniquely strong funding model. We've already begun working with 5 of their healthcare centers with their prosthetists and amputees through the Innovation Network on product validation. First, they helped us validate our assumptions, and now we're preparing to bring Isoform to these sites for user feedback. Then we'll make a strong push to be adopted into the Hanger distribution network, which represents almost a quarter of all clinics. Hanger and the VA have a long-standing relationship, so as our relationship with the VA strengthens, our adoption into Hanger becomes easier. We have also already begun engaging with Hanger prosthetists who can act as advocates and early adopters. From there, these 2 large distribution channels will give us the resources and foundation to sell to smaller networks and individual clinics. To support our sales efforts, we will generate demand at conferences and trade shows. Since incorporating, we have confirmed our status as an FDA Class 1 medical device with a regulatory consultant. So no long-term clinical trials needed to go to market. We just need standard business documentation. We have raised over $800,000 in funding to date and spent that money on product development, voice of customer, and intellectual property strategy. Most recently, we began the Techstars Physical Health Fort Worth program to develop strategic partnerships in Texas and beyond. Right now, we're focusing our time and our money on getting feedback from amputee users on the isoform socket. This allows us to iterate the design based on their feedback and get testimonials that will be important for securing strategic partnerships in the future. In the new year, we will begin our seed raise and register with the FDA to prepare for commercialization. We are also going to conduct clinical studies with amputees to validate the improved comfort and function of isoform when compared to the gold standard. We are asking for $2 million to conduct those clinical studies and launch our product in the United States. This will get us 18 months of runway and get us to revenue generation. Then we will raise a Series A to scale sales and research and development. For the clinical study that I mentioned, we want to test isoform with 30 amputees, which will take us about 8 months. We've already spoken to prosthetists so that we know which test to perform, so that the information gathered from those tests informs their decision-making process. We're in conversations with several academic organizations and clinics with whom we could partner for the study. Industry leaders are using acquisitions as a growth strategy, which is supported by ongoing consolidation trends as seen in 2023. They are looking for revenue-generating companies with multiple product offerings. While we are open to acquisition, our focus remains on building a sustainable company with our focus on strategic partnerships and research collaborations, such as with industry giants like Hanger. Success stories in the market also show the industry's potential, like Psionic, valued at $48 million based on a 30-time sales multiple. Venture capital investment also signals the industry's potential with Series A valuations roughly 12 times sales. Based on the number of sockets we will sell to an increasing number of strategic customers, we estimate our 5-year revenues to be $87 million. Our sales jump in mid-2025 as we expand our sales team and start selling nationally to Hanger. Simultaneously, our costs decrease as we partner with larger central fabricators for manufacturing and offer a kit version of isoform for in-house fabrication. Raising a Series A lets us ramp up our sales efforts while also generating new product offerings, which lets us reach profitability in just a year and a half post-launch. We already have 23 clinics in our pipeline servicing 7,500 below-knee amputees. Based on comparable companies and our focus on strategic partnerships, an exit is likely in 2027. My skills as a biomedical engineer and my co-founder's skills as a clinical anatomist are complemented by Trey's successful business exits. Our backgrounds in academia have taught us end user design, prototyping, and research skills as we've both built research projects from the ground up. To round out our expertise, we've surrounded ourselves with experts, including Ben, a certified prosthetist, Trey, a serial entrepreneur, and Jim, whose new products have generated nearly $1 billion in sales. Vessl is the only company solving poor socket fit with a unique solution. Prosthetists and amputees tell us that this is the biggest problem in prosthetics and that our solution is needed. Our proprietary technology allows the socket to adapt to the leg, thereby decreasing discomfort. So we are solving a multi-billion-dollar problem with a low-risk device. Join us in helping amputees like Ed get reliably back on their feet. Thank you.
Well done, Sydney. Thank you. And we're going to watch for some questions in the chat, but in the meantime, I need to make sense of what our conversation was a couple of weeks ago and now. Great to see the 800,000. Is that hard committed, 800,000?
So this is 800,000 that has been confirmed to date. So this is how much we've raised prior to the seed round. So that is both dilutive and non-dilutive capital.
Okay. Because previously we talked that you have your own convertible note with a 5% interest and 20% discount.
Yes.
And you had, and only from the investment side, you had investment hard commit of 400K Canadian.
Yes.
Yeah. And that your valuation cap you were working with was 5 million US.
Yes.
Okay. Good. That's what I've got down.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We just wanted to show all of the non-dilutive as well.
Great. And that's why we asked the questions. Questions for Sydney. From Nadine, you mentioned offering other products. Can you expand on your product pipeline?
Absolutely. So we want to start with below the knee amputees. That's because there are more below the knee amputees and they feel this problem most acutely. Then we want to move to above the knee socket. So just a bit of a geometry change, and to pediatrics specifically because they don't just grow out, they grow up. So we want to be able to accommodate for that. We also see other complementary products such as liners, which each amputee needs to use in their socket. And we could make one that is specific to the Vessl socket. That's where we see ourselves going.
Right. And from Jennifer, can you speak more about your manufacturing process and plan to scale? How customized does it need to be?
Absolutely. So the socket is custom made to each amputee. And so we're partnering with central fabricators that are used to building these sockets so that they're already servicing multiple clinics, which kind of helps us scale our sales efforts as well as working with manufacturers. The disc, the mechanical disc at the bottom, can actually be mass manufactured. So we'll work with those central fabricators and potentially one of their manufacturing partners to build out those discs on more of a mass manufactured scale to help reduce our costs. Those can be made kind of small, medium, large, and just attached to the bottom of the socket, and they don't need to be as custom fit.
And how are you making those now?
So we're not we're not commercially selling just yet. So right now we're making them in-house.
Okay. And that is in line with the next question. Can you clarify, is your product in use or trial by amputees right now?
We are trialing with amputees right now. We do not have the results from those trials yet, but we are right at the cusp now of getting some user feedback. So we're working at home in London, Ontario with local amputees. Most of them reached out to us actually, and we're really interested in testing the solution. But then also here in Texas, we've gotten connected to the Dallas Amputee Network, among other organizations. So we're working on doing some testing here too.
And remind I remember why you're in Texas, but remind everybody else you're in Texas right now.
So the TechStars Physical Health Fort Worth program, that's why I'm in Texas. So I'm here from the beginning of September until the beginning of December, maybe mid-December if we're able to set up some of these more strategic partnerships. And I'm looking to build, because there's such a large amputee community here from the large veteran community and the large number of folks with diabetes here.
Okay, great. Any other questions from the group? Sydney, as always, you've done a great job on the presentation, and great story that you've got as well too. And just want to thank you very much for your time today. That's great.
Thank you. Thank you all so much for your time today. Really excited, and wishing everybody the best of luck with the rest of the pitches.
Excellent. Okay.
Have a
Take
great
care.
day.
Bye-bye.